Hello. Thank you for joining me today. Glad to have you on. Let's see. I got a lot to uncover today, so I'm going to get right into it. We're going to talk a little bit about shifting home buyer preferences. We're going to reveal the 7 deadly home selling sins that most sellers unknowingly commit, 1, 3, or all of them. And I'm going to go over a strategy that I think is going to help you win in the marketplace and kind of deliver what home buyers are looking for and a way for sellers to really maximize the return on their investment, especially in today's home selling climate. So let me share my screen and I'll get started. I did open up the chat so you can chat with me amongst each other. And I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. So if you want to drop it in the chat, I would love to know whereabouts you're tuning in from today. And let's see, we're going to get this screen share all set up. Okay, I am ready to rock on my end. And it looks like we have Denise from Bowie, Maryland. We've got Joe. Hi, Joe, from Las Vegas. We've got Praveen from the San Francisco Bay Area. We've got Mark from Jacksonville, Florida. Mark, you're in Jacksonville. I need a Jacksonville agent for Seller Source. Are you enrolled yet? From in Seller Source, because we need Jacksonville bad. But glad to have you today. We've got the Zoodealio Realty team from Flagstaff, Arizona, and it's snowing. Yay! Glad to hear that. That's really cool. Thank you all for joining. And you are, okay, Mark, you are my man. I love it. Not yet, but will be soon. Okay, do it. We definitely have a need for you in Jacksonville. So glad to have you on today. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. And as I've mentioned, we're working in a partnership with BAM, which is Broke Agent Media, and we're delivering up the top 10 cash offer markets every week. They're publishing it on their end, on their channels, on their YouTube. And so I'm just bringing it forth so you guys can kind of see as well. And it looks like we've got Las Vegas is number 1. You know, Vegas has just really had a ton of cash offer requests. And we've seen Vegas on the top now for weeks and weeks. Jacksonville, Florida, there you go, Mark. We've got huge demand in Jacksonville. Atlanta, the Marietta, Cumming, Georgia area is number 3. Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, St. Pete, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, and Columbus, Ohio. Any surprises on there? Any surprises for you? For me, I'm seeing these and kind of seeing some trends emerge every week, but you know, no doubt, I read that Florida now has more listings than ever. So Florida is getting pummeled with listings. As you can imagine, a lot of those folks are wanting those cash offers to kind of see where they stand as well. We know too that listing cancellations are at a decade high. Interesting. So, you know, if you're not going after canceleds, expireds, this might be the time for you to start because there are more of them. And I think that leading with that cash offer and really uncovering that bottom line for the seller is impactful and could help you be the differentiator and get that seller to list with you because you have that cash offer option to fall back on. Or who knows, maybe they're just so frustrated by the whole process of putting their home on the market and then having to pull their home off the market that they will be realistic and maybe they're looking for that cash offer option. So interesting times for sure. Some kind of other sad news for the housing market. In January, pending home sales were at the lowest they have been on record. So the National Association of Realtors started tracking these numbers in 2001, and it is the lowest for pending home sales on record. So not real great news for the housing market, but you know, it's the reality of where we're at. And I always say that, like, you know, we're not going to let the market dictate our outcome. We're going to be the creator of our own destiny here. So I'm glad you're on this call today and listening to some strategies that can really help you have an advantage in your marketplace. And we also know that pending home sales are canceling. 1 in 7 pending home sales are canceling. So cancellation rates are up, pending home sales are low. There is some kind of good news coming, and that is mortgage rates. They dropped, and they're a little bit lower. We're at a 10-week low for mortgage rates. So those mortgage interest rates, you know, they're coming down a little bit, which is great. And the spread between the 10-year treasury and the mortgage interest rates is kind of narrowing. So that's good. What is it going to take to really get buyers to get off the fence and, start making offers and start buying more homes? So we know that rates are a huge driver. They're still a little bit high, especially with home prices. And so we hope to see maybe some more relief coming soon. Also, I thought this was really interesting. The Treasury Secretary was on Wall Street Week, and he said that he said that the housing market is frozen, but he anticipates in the next couple weeks that we're going to start to see it unfreeze. And so I thought that was really interesting. So he's talking about it. He's thinking that we're going to see some more activity pick up. We know that there is a ton of pent up seller demand. This is the data that's published by the quarterly survey of homeowner intentions and preferences. And what that said is that 1 in 5 homeowners are planning to sell. They want to sell. But for whatever reason, maybe the lock-in effect or maybe the replacement cost of a home is just too expensive. For whatever reason, they're staying put. Here's something else that's really interesting though. The Google search term sell house is at an all-time high. And so we know that a lot of folks are searching out solutions for selling their home. And if you do any keyword research, what you'll also find is that the top search phrases include sell house fast, sell house for cash, a combination of those things. So sellers are considering that, and they're also wanting to sell quickly. They're wanting to sell for cash. They want to see what that would look like. Something interesting, and we talk about this often here at Zoodealio, so maybe you've heard this before, but what also we uncovered is that Opendoor, they did their shareholder reporting last week, and their CEO, Carrie Wheeler, was talking about all of their acquisitions last quarter. And what she said is that 70% of all of their acquisitions, it wasn't the first cash offer request that the seller received and accepted. It was oftentimes an updated cash offer request that they received and then they accepted the offer on. And so we see that from our end as well. And unfortunately, sometimes we see a cash offer request come in from one agent, and then months down the line, a different agent with that same property will get a cash offer request, and maybe that's the one that the seller ends up accepting. But what we know is that sellers are in the consideration phase for several months, and they're looking at those cash offers and how they progress over time before they're actioning on them. So it's not always that first cash offer request that seller will accept. Sometimes it is, the second, third, fourth, fifth, right? It's down the line, and they're then accepting that cash offer down the line. Also, love to point out what sellers are looking for from their agent. So the top things that they're looking for is helping to sell their home within a specific time frame. So we call it the time matching equation. They have a window of time and they're wanting to sell and move in that window of time. So that makes sense. Sellers also want help finding ways to improve the property to sell it for more money. So I like to point that out, because the solution that we have here helps you do just that. The cash plus with repairs, or maybe you've also heard us talk about it as the fix it and list it. That is exactly what that product is geared toward. It's renovating that home, and maybe it's just lipsticky type things that need to happen, like carpet paint, or maybe it's a full-on remodel. But we know that sellers want help from you in doing that so that they can maximize that value. And then of course they want you to help them find a buyer for the home. So love to see that. But there is a shift in home buyer preferences, and this is really interesting. So I'm saying move over, Chip and Joanna, because the end of the fixer upper is here, and buyers are no longer wanting to purchase homes that require work. And we kind of started to see this play out here at Zoodealio over the past year. And what we started noticing is that the homes that were renovated or remodeled would sell quicker and for more money. I mean, it just makes sense. But there used to be, buyers used to really crave those fixer-upper projects, putting in that sweat equity, that sort of thing. But there has definitely been a shift. And recently, Zillow published some data on this. It was the end of the fixer-upper report that they published. And what they found is that buyers are really prioritizing move-in ready homes. And before, fixer uppers would sell for about Or now fixer uppers sell for about 7.3% less than the comparables. And it is the largest discount that Zillow has tracked in the past 3 years. So buyers are really shifting their preferences towards homes that are updated and remodeled. And so remodeled homes are attracting more buyers and they sell for more. And so on Zillow, what they did is the largest research on the keywords that are used in a listing. And the word remodeled had the biggest impact on the sale. And those homes sold for on average 3.7% more, and they received more views. So they're getting more eyeballs on Zillow as well. So buyers are really liking that word remodeled. And for instance, if you go on Zillow, you'll see that Zillow will often, with their AI, they will tag the words that they believe buyers are really going to gravitate to and click on. And so that remodeled word is a big one. And then staging and presentation is way up as well, driving more engagement on Zillow. Virtual staging can be done very well and can really fool a lot of folks. In fact, it fooled us. So we were reviewing some listings that are on the market through the Zoodealio buyer partnerships. And one of them in particular, we're going, wait a second, did this agent actually stage this home? It was done so well through virtual staging that it even fooled us. And, we're just looking at properties all day long. So for it to even fool us, I think it's getting really good. And so that virtual staging can be an option, I believe, even when, perhaps staging isn't financially viable. So I want to go through quickly the 7 deadly sins of home selling, because sellers make these sins, they commit these sins oftentimes, and most of the time they don't even know it. And I think that it is our job as real estate professionals to really share with them the truth and really get them to understand, especially in today's market, what it is going to take to get their home sold. And oftentimes, if they sell it fast, that's going to give them the most amount of money as well. So let's skim through the 7 deadly sins of home selling. The first one is greed. So sellers that overprice their home, ultimately data suggests will end up selling for less. And we know that the pricing conversation is a difficult conversation. I was talking with a couple of agents over the weekend, and they were sharing how, a lot of times other agents will come in and maybe be unrealistic with that price. I call it buying the listing, and, kind of try and set expectations high just to take the listing. And then of course, once they take the listing, what do? They beat the seller up for price reductions after they take it. But oftentimes sellers also want to test the market. And it's an interesting time, and not to say that there aren't properties that warrant testing the market. Of course there are. This is not a one size fits all approach. But the reality is if you price the home well from the get-go, you're going to have the greatest chance of selling it for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. There's some stats up on the screen for you. I think this is really interesting because, we've got inventory that's stagnant. It's sluggish, and houses are now taking even longer to sell on average than ever before. And so it's so important that we share the truth with sellers. Now, ultimately, they get to decide what to do with the information that we share with them, but I think sharing the truth is ultimately our best bet. And if you'd like a copy of our slides today, we're always happy to send them to you. You can either send me a quick email. It's my first name, Kayla, Kala, @zoodealio.com. Or if you received this as part of a replay, you can just reply back to the email that sent you this and they'll send you the slides. Or if you're watching from YouTube, again, just send me a quick email and happy to share my slides with you today as well. All right, the second deadly sin that home sellers commit is sloth. They neglect repairs and upgrades. And so we talked about shifting buyer preferences. Buyers are gravitating towards the homes that are remodeled, that are updated, and those homes are selling for more and they're selling faster. And so avoiding pre-sale repairs and updates and assuming that the buyer is just going to want to take those on is a no-no, especially in today's market. And the solution that we have for you at Zoodealio kind of solves this problem. And so if you're going into a listing appointment, I would just recommend, sharing with them a viable option that they have. And if they choose not to exercise that, that's okay. But at least you've shared with them a way that they can avoid committing this sin. All right, the third one is pride, ignoring feedback and market data. And so you get the house on the market, maybe you're getting that feedback that the price is too high, or maybe you're getting the ultimate feedback, which is 0 showings or 1 or little precious few showings. To me, that's ultimate feedback, because that means the market is completely rejecting that offering. And so something needs to happen. You either need to, condition that property differently, or you need to improve that price so that it will find that buyer that is willing to entertain it. And so refusing to adjust your strategy, your pricing, the condition, your approach after the home is placed on the market is prideful. It's just kind of rejecting common sense. It's rejecting market data, and it's saying that you know best, and you know best will result in you not selling your home. And so I think that these are great conversations to have with sellers, because you can really uncover their motivation. Perhaps they're not motivated to sell right now. And if that's the case, then, and we're seeing that. And that's why we're seeing cancellations at an all-time high, is because many sellers are saying, I can't get the price that I was hoping for or that I wanted. And so I'm going to pull my house off the market. Now, the reality is, and the sad thing is we could be in a bit of a price discovery timeframe for many houses across the U.S., many markets. And there's some markets that aren't impacted. I was talking with an agent in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and they were just sharing how their market it's just on fire. So I get it. This isn't for every market, but many markets have a lot of inventory, precious few buyers, and we got to do something to spur offer activity. And when you ignore the market reaction to your listing, it's not doing anyone any favors. All right, the fourth one is lust. And I love this one because expecting your agent to do everything except fix the real problem. All right, so we've all had those listings where the seller is maybe overpriced, or the condition of the property isn't at par with what it needs to be. And instead of them being realistic and adjusting those items, they instead blame it on you. And they think, if you would just do more open houses, if you would just put it in a newspaper or put it in a magazine or send out more postcards, they think that it is you. And sometimes it might be, right? Sometimes you may be the problem, your marketing may be the problem, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say more often than not, it's not you. More often than not, it is the market reaction to that property. And there's something that needs to change that's outside of your control. So I think that this is the seller looking at that point when the house is on the market, looking to all of the other listings and all of the other things that they're seeing and going, oh, if my agent would just do that, if my agent would just do a mega open house, if my agent would just do a broker tour, if my agent would just do a caravan, then this house would sell. Oftentimes that is not the case. And so sellers can't lust after the things that they see other agents do to move their inventory. All right, number 5 is envy, and that's comparing your home to others unfairly. And we have all worked with the home seller that points to the other house that sold, and that other house that sold is way nicer. And they think that, oh, well, mine should sell for that because it's, it's kind of similar. It's maybe not quite that, but, it's pretty nice. So understanding that fully renovated homes sell for way more, and that if their house isn't, then that is a problem, and they're not going to get anywhere near what that other comparable got, especially in today's market where inventory is rising and buyers are kind of sitting it out and they're waiting to see what happens. So I would say that 5, envy, is one that sellers need to avoid. And number 6 is wrath, letting their emotions dictate their negotiations. We got a saying in real estate, and the saying is oftentimes the first offer you get is the best offer you'll get. And sometimes that offer, if it comes in and the seller thinks it's too low, they get emotional about it, they get angry about it, they get upset, and that clouds their judgment. They don't make a good decision. And so wrath and letting their emotions get a hold of them can really hold sellers back from a smart home sale that would result in the most amount of money in the least amount of time. All right, let's round it out with number 7, and that is gluttony. And that is holding out for that perfect buyer and losing money, because listings are like milk. They don't get better with age, and the data supports that. And because of that, if you're holding out for that perfect buyer, that magical buyer that probably doesn't exist, the unicorn, right? If you're holding out for that, what will likely happen is you'll end up selling for way less. And so I hope, wait, we got one more. Okay. Oh no, what did I think I messed up the numbers on that. Okay, that was 7. All right, so we're done. We've rounded them out. Those are the 7 deadly sins of home selling. I'm curious, what would you change, or what would you add to that I missed? I would love your feedback. Ultimately, this was just my fun way of, kind of sharing that it's an interesting market and sellers need to be educated on this. And I think that this would be a really fun lead magnet. You could really use this. In fact, in my next coaching call, I'm going to show you how you can take these and turn them into content so you can get sellers kind of raising their hand to get this information. And of course, your cash offers along the way. Now I want to share with you a strategy. It's the Cash Plus with repairs. And I want to show you a before and after so you can really get a visual of how this home played out before and after. I have the financial breakdown of it at the end, and so you can kind of see how the seller fared after they opted in and chose this strategy. And I'm going to quickly take you and show you some of the recent updates that we've made inside of Zoodealio. A lot going on. It's really exciting. And maybe you've noticed them already, but if not, we're going to just hop in there and take a quick sneak peek at those. All right, so here is a home that was just tired and outdated and needed work. And so the seller actually had this house sitting on the market and it wasn't selling. And so after months, their agent came to Zoodealio and said, we have this property, it's not moving, I need another solution for this. And so they got the Cash Plus offer. They decided on a repair strategy. And you'll see here what all was done to the home. I've got a breakdown at the end that kind of shows you all of the repairs that were made to this property. So just kind of to reiterate, the Cash Plus works for homes that are already on the market. And so it's not just for the house that isn't on the market yet. So if you've got property that's just not moving, I always recommend getting that cash offer. Oftentimes when the seller sees it, they may say, you know what, I'll just take a price reduction. And great, that's a win for you because you've uncovered motivation and you've got them to move off of that price that they were stuck at. And so, use it as a hedge as well. Because see, here's the other thing too, is if you've got a property, it's not moving, you get them that cash offer, maybe they take a price reduction, maybe they wait it out a little bit longer, but you always have that offer to fall back on, and it kind of removes and eliminates that, what are you doing for me? What have you done for me lately mentality that a lot of sellers have. And so you can always use the Cash Plus offer when a house is listed. You can always use it as a hedge and, continually getting that refreshed along the way. And we're happy to, do that for you. Just kind of a quick refresh on that cash offer. When you first submit the offer into Zoodealio, that number that's going to appear is what we call the preliminary number. And in order to get the finalized number, you just have to click that finalize my offer button. Either the homeowner can do it if they're working from their dashboard, or you can go into their dashboard and do it for them. It's going to take you through a quick little survey. It's going to ask you a couple questions. It's going to make sure that we have photos of the property, because then what will happen is that we'll go to our underwriting team, and our underwriting team will actually lay human eyes on that property and do an underwriting analysis for it. Now, I have had questions lately from agents going like, hey, am I going to get put on like a do not work with list if we finalize too many offers and they don't come to fruition? And the answer is no. We're not tracking your hit rate. Our goal is to provide you a service that's very valuable in your listing, arsenal. So whether you're listing that home, whether that seller accepts that cash offer, both of those are wins for us. And if it is helping you in those, in that arena, like, we're happy. So we don't track your pull through rate on the offers. And, so you're welcome to do that for all of the properties that you work with. In fact, if you're lead generating, I would highly recommend that you're doing this for instance, your geographical farm area. If you're demographically farming, I would do it for that, for all of the leads, do it for that. And then also keep in mind, as Carrie Wheeler, the CEO of Open Door, just shared last week, it is oftentimes not the first offer that the seller exercises. It is oftentimes, the second, third, fourth, fifth, so forth and so on. And because of that, it's super important that if you're prospecting, you have a follow-up plan and a nurture sequence to continually provide those refreshed offers to that homeowner. And so why we created the home report, one of the reasons was so you could keep that value proposition in front of them. So if you're not on the home report, it is a great time to invest in your business and get on it, because that will help keep you and your value proposition in front of that homeowner month after month after month. All right, so this home, tired, needed a little bit of work. And so there was some work done to the exterior, just kind of freshened it up, brought it back to life again, if you will. The kitchen just kind of outdated, needed a little bit of work. And so that kitchen was refreshed, looked great after. Again, interior, just tired, worn, outdated. And so with a little bit of a refresh, a big difference was made. Some of these, if you're walking through this house with a buyer, they're looking at all of these things, and it's just starting to become a money pit. And so when you can really eliminate them from thinking, oh my goodness, this house is going to be so expensive, it makes a world of a difference. So as you can see here with the before and afters, it's just night and day. And this house looked so wonderful and amazing after it was done. So again, just tired, outdated. This was like the screened in area. We call that an Arizona room here in Arizona. Not sure what you call it in your neck of the woods. But once that was refreshed, it just looked so good, so much better. Bathrooms were just tired, original, outdated. And once they were refreshed, they looked amazing. So let's get to the financial breakdown of what happened at this property. So the home ultimately sold for $496,900. The as-is value was $335,000. Okay, so that was a value increase of about $161,000. Now, the repair costs that the seller paid for were $69,225. The program fee that the seller paid for was $29,814, which means that they had a profit increase on this property of $62,000. And that is like after they invested in repairs and after they invested in the program. And so if you can imagine, huge win for the agent. Keep in mind, this house was on the market, it wasn't selling. And so huge win for the agent, huge win for the homeowner. And also one of the challenges that, sellers have when it comes to updating their home or renovating their home or even, doing the little lipsticky things is that they oftentimes are house rich, cash poor. They don't have that upfront cash to invest in the property. And then even if they do have some cash laying around to make investments into the property, they would usually have to live in the home while these repairs and renovations are taking place. And as you can imagine, that is so stressful. And so this program allows the seller to get their first payout. So they get that, first chunk of cash, and they can move on. They can move out of the property. And then once they move out, then the buyer will go in and make the agreed upon repairs. Once those repairs are made, then you'll list the home on the open market, and then the resale will take place, and so forth and so on. And so it's a great strategy. It solves the problems. And I was really surprised at the shifting buyer preferences to see the data on it. We've been feeling it at Zoodealio here for about a year, but to actually see the hard data on it and to see that, yeah, it is true that now buyers are prioritizing remodeled homes over the homes that need work. And it kind of just makes sense, especially with how expensive home prices are and with rates being higher. It just makes sense that they're wanting something that's move-in ready, that they don't really have to throw a bunch of money into or spend a bunch of time into bringing up to their standards. So I'm going to quickly now take us into Zoodealio and show you just a couple changes that we've recently made, just get us all on the same page. So give me a quick moment. And I just breezed through that. I haven't even looked at the Q&A. Let me pull it up and see if we've got anything in there. Okay, well, we've got an AI assistant that is letting me know she's taking notes. Julie Britton's. Hello, Julie. Hello, AI assistant. Who else is using AI assistants in their Zoom meetings? I see them a lot now. We've been using them at Zoodealio for quite a while. It provides such transparency. I love it. And also at Zoodealio, all of our everything is recorded and captured because, as you can imagine, there's just a lot that oftentimes we need to go back and review. And so I love the AI assistants. So I have up my Zoodealio account. Okay, cool. Glad that we're back on the audio. So the biggest thing that we have changed is our notifications tab. So you're going to see here along the left-hand side, there's this notifications button. And if you click that, this is the biggest change that we've made. We've pulled all of the notifications into one place for you, and you can filter this by date range. You can look at the new notifications versus the viewed notifications, and it's going to show you all of the things that are happening on your account site-wide, from offer submissions to home report activity. It's going to bring all of this forward for you in one place. So you can see here, I have an email opened on the home report, a couple emails open on the home report, emails that were sent on the home report. You can see if someone viewed something on the home report. So you can see this is, someone that viewed a portion of the home report. You can see an AI chat was started on the home report. And so if you click any of these, it will drill down to that client and show you the client that made this, that took this action. And so, I just clicked that one and was able to see at a quick glance what they've done. I can come to their home report tab and I can get more insights on what was happening. It's all about kind of monitoring that homeowner's digital body language, as I like to call it, and seeing what they're doing on that report. So they spent like 5 minutes on the real value section. They spent some time on the home estimate section. If I click this AI insights, it's gonna tell me what they said to the AI and how they engaged with the AI. So in this particular instance, they asked what was the difference between the long-term and short-term rentals? How do they compare? Which one brings me the most profit? You can see that the conversation was extended. Which one will I make more money on? The AI answered. I love this one. Who's a good agent? And it's going to give them your information here. So it's going to tell them, hey, a great agent is Kayla. You should reach out to her, and it's going to bubble up your contact information. So again, this is all being derived from that notifications tab. So I'm going to go back to it. That's right along the left-hand side. It's that notifications tab, and you can get that historical view of all of the things that are happening on your account so that you can make, really intelligent decisions about who to follow up with, and when you follow up with them, what to say. And so great resource. We're really wanting to give you more clarity on that digital body language that people are taking on your site and on your application. So that is one big change. Another change that we made, it's pretty simple, but if you look along the left-hand side, you're going to see this landing pages pop out. And if you click that, what it's going to do is going to bubble up your cash offer landing page. And then if you have the home report, your home report landing page as well. And so you can kind of get a preview of those pages so you know what they are. And then you can click that copy link to get that link to your landing pages. If you are on an enterprise account, or a broker account or a team account, then this is really important because that is your customizable URL that you can use to run traffic to that will get routed directly to you. So it's really important, and we bubble that up to the top for you. Also, just some things that you won't see here, but I just want to point out, we've made some recent optimizations to the speed and the load time of your site, so that things can load quicker and you can see them, really quickly. So, it's not a UI change, if you will, but it is a functionality change, and that should load quicker for you so that you can really get the information you need faster. So yeah, just wanted to point that out and show you guys what is new in the site. Before we go, one kind of parting thought here is stay tuned because we are revamping the offer section of Zoodealio. So you're going to see that here very soon. And that will be pretty neat. It's going to be just an enhanced view of that offer details page to really make the offers more clear and really delineate out for you the differences between those offers, giving you some additional functionality where you can grab the offers, compare them side by side, do a PDF of the breakdowns, select the offers that you want, etc. So it's a really overhaul of that functionality, and we're working hard to get that out to you as soon as possible. So that is coming down the pike, and I just want to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you gained some insights for today's call. It's a tough real estate market, guys, but I know that you are equipped to do all that you can do to go out there and get your unfair share of it. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in a couple weeks when I come back. Elliot will be next week. I'll be the week after that. So I'll be back in 2 Mondays, and I'm going to be going through lead magnet strategies that you can use to really advertise your cash offer hook out there. We're going to incorporate those 7 deadly sins of home selling because it's catchy, and I think it's going to get sellers to raise their hand and want to get that information from you. So yeah, between now and then, happy home selling, and I'll see you soon.